podcast episode 1, the lone episode. So I decided to do a podcast because I heard my cousin do it and I enjoyed it. So here we go. Let's talk about music. I like music. Music is great. I listen to a lot of music. I hope you guys listen to a lot of music because I do. I never thought of doing a podcast alone. It's an interesting format. It's like you're bouncing around off the room to try and think of some words to say. And then you begin to become awkward and you begin to feel like, what are you doing? You could stop this right now. You don't have to upload this. You don't have to. No one's listening anyway. It's the first episode. Who's gonna go back and listen to the first episode? But I might. And I matter. And so do you, dear listener. So let's talk about music. Marvin Gaye. Now that's a singer that we don't appreciate here in the Isle of Green. The Isle of mainly white. We don't talk about Marvin Gaye, because why would we? I mean, we don't even talk about the Dubliners. We don't talk about U2. No one talks about U2. They saved Ireland, I think. I like how there's no one to shut me up when I'm being stupid. There's no one to be like, Gavin, come on. And I can belch. Oh God, I'm cutting that out. But it's a nice format. It's a nice format being alone and thinking about Marvin Gaye. What's going on? Let's talk about music. What's Going On is a great album. I've got it on vinyl. And it is one of the best albums I've ever heard for transitions. The transitions in that album, and I can look at it while I talk. The transitions of that album. Let's just look at it. Side 1, What's Going On? Okay, you start the album with a revolutionary song, and I don't mean just in activism terms. I mean revolutionary in a sense that, like, in its musicality, it's just perfect. It's beautiful. It is so great. You go from What's Going On smoothly, oh so smoothly, into What's Happening, Brother, into Flying High in the Friendly Sky. It brings the pace down a little bit. And you go further down in the pace with Save the Children, which is an incredible song. The message of Save the Children, it needs to be heard because we don't think of the children. And let's jump off topic for a minute. You guys know, we all know, women get harassed online. Women get harassed on the street. Women get harassed in clubs. Women get harassed for their feet. And we think about that a lot as a nation, as a world, a Western world. We think about the humiliation. We think about the fucking cringe and the uncomfort that the women feel quite often because of men. But we don't always look at the children and the female children who are affected so terribly by this incel wave. Like, that actually sounds like a cellular company. Incel wave coming to you from a satellite away from you. That was a bad analogy. But incel, yeah, the like, say Instagram, any female child who starts an Instagram will get and uses it, or like is active on it because they see other people use it, so they use it. They're gonna be inundated with fucking perverts and wild, weird shit that they're too young for. And you, the answer, or the response typically is, oh sure, don't let him use it then. Which I understand. I mean, I don't think I would let my child use it. But, God, we need to think about saving them from this. Not, just blocking it out until they're old enough to deal with it. Let's move again. To police brutality. You don't just say, okay, people who are a victim of police brutality, or who may be a victim of police brutality, get off the street. You're not safe. Don't go outside. You don't do that. You just try and stop the bad thing. Same with these predators and shit on social media. You don't say get away from the bad people. You get the bad people away. Or you make it harder for the, because I mean it to like, you can like easily spot if someone's being a creep. Just block that account if they say creepy shit. If they do love heart emotes for some social media shit on like Facebook. You see these like 50-year-olds liking 16-year-olds' profile. Fucking ban them. Yeah, they might come back, and they come back, you ban them again. Until no child has to see a man's penis over the internet. It's simple. So thank you, Marvin Gaye. More people need to talk about this album, because the ideas that the music brings. Save the children. Fucking do it. Next song, God is Love. The transition between Save the Children to God and Love, like my transition from Save the Children to God is Love, was smooth as hell. So, yeah, it still rips right into Mercy, Mercy Me. That's a personal favourite. And I didn't know this. And this makes so much sense. I've only listened to Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, the album. I've only listened to it on Spotify. And I always felt like the next song after Mercy, Mercy Me, the Ecology, Right On, it always changed the tone way too much. But it's a different side of the album, and that's why it happens. And I just learned something new, ladies and gentlemen. So side one is absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. What's going on? What's happening, brother? I'm flying high in the friendly sky. Somebody please save the children, 'cause God is love. Oh, mercy, mercy me. Somebody save the ecology. And that's side one. And then we get into side two, which it makes so much sense. The transitions of that side one, you will never hear anything as good as that. And I mean that. Check it out. I beg of you. Check out Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, to Mercy, Mercy Me. Side one is perfect. Then side two, Right On, I like it. I think it's interesting. It's interesting sounds. It's kind of freeing. It's kind of boyish, if you know what I mean. And then we go right into Holy, Holy, which I think is beautiful. It's a whole separate thing to Right On. And then Inner City Blues. Make me wanna holler, throw up both my hands. That's like one of the first political songs I've heard. And thank you, Marvin Gaye, for being the first piece of my journey. Back up you go. But yeah, so I've covered music. No, I haven't. I made a playlist recently. It's called Thinkful. It's called Thinkful, and it's a jazz playlist, and there's no vocals. I listen to a bit of vocal jazz, but this one, no vocals, and it's beautiful. It's a really good playlist. It starts with Alabama by John Coltrane. A poet by the name of Amir Baraka recommended me to listen to Alabama by John Coltrane, because he was saying how music does how John Coltrane and a lot of music in the 60s, and a lot of like kind of artists like in literature and anything in the 60s, they were speaking about what was happening without saying it. And Alabama by John Coltrane, Amir Baraka asked him one day. Amir Baraka was like, "Well, why did you name it Alabama?" And he said he just thought of Alabama, and that's what came out. He thought of what was happening in the South, and that music came out of him. That's such somber music, and you can hear it. And Amir Baraka expressed how music can quantify ideas. It can express ideas. It can display, create. It can envelope ideas. It can show you ideas that it doesn't need any words. It portrays them, like it projects them right into your mind's eye, and that's beautiful. And that's what Alabama, John Coltrane did. The first song of my little playlist I made. I made a little playlist. Second song, Grand Green, Maybe Tomorrow. Insane song. Beautiful song. Carry on that somber tone from Alabama straight into Grand Green, Maybe Tomorrow. That song was sampled in Kendrick Lamar, Sing About Me, which, again, another incredible song. And it was also sampled in the drums, I think, were sampled in a Logic song, which I cannot remember the name of. The next song I used, Mortal Man, Terrace Martin, and continuing the link of Kendrick through the music and also the somber tone and the thoughtful, the thinkful tone. Mortal Man is obviously a reference to Mortal Man by Kendrick Lamar at the end of To Pimp a Butterfly. There's a song called Mortal Man, and Terrace Martin, the one who made that, or like made the instrumental, he on his album has a song called Mortal Man, and it's just a fleshed out, jazzy, soulful idea of Mortal Man. And I dare anyone to listen to that and tell me that jazz is not alive in this world. While it may feel dead, especially in this country, because tell me an Irish jazz singer that your man then, the local super value, will know the name of. You know, so it does feel sometimes jazz is dead. It's not. Listen to Terrace Martin, go to America, go to England. Yeah, and then from then I go into a bit of Kamasi Washington again. He is the best jazz instrumentalist that I know. He's an alto saxophonist, I think. But yeah, fuck. It does. You cannot listen to those beautiful pieces of music and not let your mind go to to this higher level. I was on a bus recently and I was listening to Thelonious Monk, who also features on this album, on this playlist I made. I mean, Thelonious Monk was incredible. He was a pianist and he was so experimental. He has an album called Straight No Chaser. It's perfect. Um, but yeah, Kamasi Washington. He's so good. It's so I just love listening to jazz music and following a certain instrument and listening to that instrument like it's a voice, like it's a vocal, and hearing the emotion because it all comes from human breath, just like a voice. It is a vocal. Do you know what I mean? It is it carries and holds the same passion that a human voice can evoke, that same emotion that the human voice can evoke. That's what a piano can do. That's what a saxophone can do, a flute can do. It's human. I mean, instruments are human. Oh, the drums, the shimmering, um, the shimmering part of the drum kit that makes that sound. I don't know what. I won't remember the name of that instrument or the part of the instrument, like a tambourine but on a drum. If you know what I mean. Um, Then I go a bit space age. I throw in an interlude by Frank Ocean, and it's like boom 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 boom. It's White by Frank Ocean. I think next. I don't even know, but I know that I take it in a different direction. I make it kind of futuristic, and then the next song is like a Kamasi Washington song, and it's called the Time Traveler's Lullaby. I mean, what an incredible name! And I can notice the update from Kamasi Washington's The Epic to Kamasi Washington Time Traveler's Lullaby. There's a difference in quality. Even though The Epic is one of the most beautiful pieces of music you or I will ever hear, there is an update in like kind of a recording quality, and it's still beautiful. It's still great music. Um, yeah, so that's the direction this playlist takes, and then I go down a bit into some other realm, but Kindred One by Kelsey Lou, a fabulous singer. She has a interlude that's just so tranquil, and it's birds tweeting. It's a slow guitar, and or not even, it's not a guitar. It's like a harp. It's a harp. I think it's a harp. It's some sort of a string instrument. I think. I let her play out a little bit. Then I just continued the journey. I have a bit more John Coltrane, a bit of Thelonious Monk. I've got a bit more Kamasi Washington, and a few other artists, and I hope you check it out. It's called Think Full on Spotify. And I think I'm done talking about music. Let's move on to World War Three. So Ukraine is getting fucked by Russia. That's scary. I'm scared about that. I think about dying a lot. I think about a nuke happening in 3, 2, 1. This whole room I'm in, the room you're in as well right now, blasts with white and flash, and you don't even recognize that you're dead. And then that white flash for that split second is nothing, and then you feel nothing, and there is nothing, and whatever you were doing meant nothing, and whoever you're doing meant nothing, and what you were going to do meant nothing, and what you did yesterday meant nothing, because it's all gone, and there's nothing, and it's just black. Or if you're lucky enough to believe in heaven, I mean, there's still nothing. So Yeah, I'm worried about that because I'm selfish. I don't want to die. Yeah, have a war in Ukraine. I don't mind. But now that I know that like nukes exist and you don't even have to nuke Ireland, little old Ireland. You don't need to nuke here. Nuke Japan. Nuke fucking Florida. Upset a Florida man. It will still affect me. We'll go into some kind of nuclear winter, and the sun will not come out for years, and I'll be upset about that. So don't nuke anyone. Don't go to war. Why have war? Why do you need more money? Why do you need more land? Why do you need to kill people? Because once you die, it is dead, and there is nothing. Why? I wouldn't kill someone. Like, why do they need to kill someone? Maybe if I felt something, if I felt I had something, I'd want more and I'd kill for more. Or if I lost something, I'd kill for that back. But I don't know. I've lost things. I've had things. I wouldn't end things to get it back because it's dumb. Dumb. Killing is dumb. What a profound take on this here podcast. But yeah, I've been freaked out, so I wrote a poem. I wrote a poem about the whole situation. It's called The Great Escalator. News breaking, wars breaking, bullets flying, babies dying, B 2 bomber, raid sirens, leaders lying, hush hush, imperialist, genocidim, conquest, racism, burnt buildings, Ukraine victims, Russia at the front door, NATO sanction, send aid, border struck, armed force, use force, world war, over gas on the mountains, hostages flee from Kiev, teeth throw, get down, grenade through the back door. Run for hills for safe haven, someone send for a raven, get a message to Putin, reignites a cold war. Gremlin in the Kremlin, goblin get the job done, God gone, oil rich, dog gone, world gone mad. Black nucleus, dark mind for nuclear winter, find a fridge to survive. Flash bang, booming blast any second now. 10-9 countdown, 8 hands clasped. Pray for Zion, 7 riot, 666, we're all locked out of heaven. Pow, now, 5-4, missile plummets to the ground. People on the floor, war. 3, the Trinity can't save thee. 2, if only Noah had the zoo boat. 1, blink flash as blast chokes and strangles our earth, and you and everybody you know disintegrates. So yeah, I wrote that poem because I was too scared to sleep. It's about war escalating too quickly to stop, and it makes me scared. So I wrote a poem about it, as any man would. Poetry. Poetry, 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 poetry. It's dead. It's it's dead, and not like rock and roll is dead, but like your great grandmother is dead in that sense. It is dead in this country that I'm broadcasting from, podcasting from, Ireland. It's dead. Like there's loads of beautiful, brilliant poets, but in the same way there's loads of beautiful, brilliant ancestors that we had. They're, I'm an ancestor in terms of poetry compared to our great poets. The great poets. We're nothing. Oscar Wilde, although he wasn't primarily a poet, he did write poems. He was a celebrity. He was big. He had influence. Nowadays, name a poet. What kids listen to poetry? Who's excited for the next poem? I think hip hop has stolen poetry. I love hip hop. Hip hop is my first love, my first passion in life. What was hip hop? My first genuine passion. Because I love English and I did enjoy poetry. I love the wordplay. I love the metaphors and the double entendre. Like, and I'm not just listing things that are to do with poetry. I'm listing things that when I hear them, I get a fucking buzz. When I'd hear Absol say something, I'd read it and I'd be like, oh, and I'd laugh and it would be fun. Poetry is about, I cut my wrist this morning. Damn, that's deep. TW, CW. Put a little trigger on it. Who says I'm gonna shoot before they shoot? Unless you're a police officer, and fuck police officers, you know? Fucking shoot. And if someone's affected by it, good, because it's effective. I was about to say people are too soft, but bro, I'm too soft. I mean, like I recently spoke about war on this same podcast. I'm too soft for a war. I'm too soft to enter my kitchen. I'm too soft to do a lot of things, you know. Um, but we can't be too soft to be affected by things, you know. We need to let things. We need to feel things and understand why we feel them. At least let us be strong to strong in the capacity at which we can um, digest information. Let's be strong about that. Because I'm quite passionate about poetry and the way I've seen it all my life and the way I see it at this current moment. And I do poetry in my college. I'm a third year student. Um, it's not going anywhere. I had a poetry specialist, an expert, a professor, a module coordinator. Just make a casual joke about, oh, you guys, I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna teach you guys how to make money out of poetry. And I was like, and the class was like, what, really? Oh, class, yeah, cool, 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 cool. And she laughed at her faces. It was really funny. It was hardcore, but I mean, it was true. It is a laugh. It is hilarious. The idea that you could make money from poetry. I told a man, a customer, I work in a shop. I'm a cashier as well as a poet, if you can believe that. And I told the guy I'm gonna be the next big poet. I'm doing poetry. What are you gonna be after college? I'm gonna be a poet. Laughed at. He went red but laughter. He laughed. So I've never seen a man laugh that hard, and I appreciated it. It was honest. It was not like laughing at me. It was just. It's like when someone farts and they shit themselves, and you're in class. You'd laugh at that, wouldn't you? You're just so surprised. You're like, could you not have gone to the toilet? Could you? How did that even happen? We're in a professional setting. You shat your pants. You'd guffaw with laughing. You would fall off your chair. You would genuinely ruffle. Um, and it's wrong because I believe that poetry is a is a tool that could help shape our society. It could help correct the posture. It could help correct our culture's posture because our culture's back is bent and broken out of shape. And we all know it is. We all say, oh, Twitter, this place of trolls. We are the trolls. Like all of us. Now, some of us might jump on a high horse. But none of us have a saddle, and between our legs are bruised and red, and poetry can be the saddle that we can ride on to a swift a swift moral victory over our human um, disturbances, you know. But we don't use it like that. We use it for personal personal like kind of therapy reasons, which I understand. I do it. It's helpful to write about how you feel, but damn, we can use it for so much more. And I know people do. I'm not being revolutionary to say, let's write a poem about climate change. It's not about that. It's about the energy that we direct towards it. The energy in the poem, how we direct that energy, and the energy at which we direct the kind of direct our poem. Like where do we? Okay, basically what I'm saying, without being preposterous, it's how we push the poem. It's how we sell the poem. It's how we guide the poem on its journey towards effectiveness. Because poems nowadays are not effective. They're null and void. I'm a big fan of Amiri Baraka, and he said, "Let there be no love poems until love exists cleanly and freely." He didn't say that. It's something like that. Until love exists freely and cleanly, or cleanly and free, something like that, along those lines. And we write love poems, and we watch bullshit on Snapchat, and we look at TikTok, and people die, and they're gone forever. Like I've already said, when people die, it's over. When people die for nothing. People live these terrible, constrained lives for nothing, where they dope themselves into oblivion, and they waste precious minutes where something is something, and it ends for nothing, and it ends and it is nothing, and it's terrible, and we don't try and fix it, and politics won't fix it, because it's not for us, that game. And this is not a political podcast, but it will get political. Yeah, it's crazy how sensitive the world has gotten, how sensitive the liberal kind of world has gotten, which is my world because I'm Irish and because I live in a city. How sensitive we all are to TW, CW, anything out, any foot wrong, any tongue movement that might be considered wrong, the wrong word, the wrong vowel, the wrong consonant, anything. Yet we are not sensitive to the malfeasance in our surroundings, the treachery that it surrounds us. It's in my hand right now. It's in your hand maybe right now, in some kind of device, some phone, something. That treachery that has manipulated you, and has contorted you into something subhuman. I'm not saying this from a place of privilege, from a place of even enlightenment. I understand that this whole device of communication, this whole thing I'm doing, a podcast, in a sense, it is a treachery to us, to you, to me, because it is just a time taker, you know? It's a time sucker. You might learn something from this, so maybe it's healthy. But what inspired me to say these things? I think it's thoroughly unhealthy. It's madness. It's okay. What I'm saying, it's a bit far. If I'm allowed to be wrong, allow me to be wrong for a moment. Um, because the device in my hand is also the reason why I know everything I know, because I learned so much from this device in my hand. It depends how you wield this technological weapon. You know, you can use it as a shield or a weapon, or you can use it as a fucking table. Do you know what I mean? You can use it as something um not for war. You can use it as an object that is not suitable for the war that we are currently in. The Great Culture War, as I'm sure it will be referred to in a couple decades. And I'm not criticizing anyone here. Like, I hope that no one feels like this is some kind of rant about damn ye kids, or damn poets are not saying what I want, or damn people are obsessed with their damn technology. It's not like that. It's just I'm trying to recognize the potential that we have, that I have, really, because I'm speaking to myself right now. The potential that we have to use the powers that we have in literature, in poetry, in technology, to help people, to help ourselves. And we desperately need help. And people, say poor people, or people who are discriminated against, or any woman, or any man, any person, we need help. And we have the power to help us and them. So let's forget about us and them. If you know what I mean? Let's forget about this them and us, the other, the great other, when unless it's some kind of alien, there is no other. Because we are all human. And everybody can get help. So I think that is an appropriate place to end this podcast. Let's use our gifts, such as poetry, literature, music, architecture, engineering, cookery, culinary, skills, bravery, courage, I don't know, mischievousness, mischief, curiosity, everything. Let's use it all, and you know, use it for good. Let's not write poems about how we remember that time when we fell and broke our arm, or let's not write songs about that bitch, or let's not build weapons of mass destruction. Let's use what we have to help people. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, have a good evening, and stay tuned for more Intended Podcast.